Hamu. Okay. Um, so we're gonna do the tea party first. This might like change some of the things that like I have in mind. But what I have set in my mind is pretty set in stone with other things, but okay, let's just go through the tea party first, and then I'll do my crazy theories of like how the murders happen and things like that. And question marks. I mean, this might change some stuff, but gotta just see. I feel like my theories or like my thoughts on the murders are quite in place. Hi everyone, how did you find episode 3? So I really like enjoyed episode 3, and thanks to all the theories and how they like explained some stuff, my mind just started racing. But again, I'll go into that like after the tea party. And no, I actually don't touch YouTube outside of streaming and just listening to music, so I don't like know anything whatsoever, and I have not gone to any spoilers. So most people, it was Angie. So yeah, I'm pretty spoiler free. With Umineko, I would say for a fact. And again, would love people to not spoil anything, whether or not I was correct or incorrect. Just smile and nod. If once I get down to that. Oh. How do I feel about Beito trying to get my sympathy? I feel tricked. I feel so bullied by her, but I want to believe that that's Beito still. I think with how I've kind of recognized that like a lot of the witches are just like babies, you know? They're kids, you know? It makes sense that like in a way, shape, or form, I'm sure Beito did want to be noticed by somebody or be recognized as like not only like a person, but like someone who wants to kind of like as a kid, they want attention. You call anyone younger than me a baby. Lord Santa Claus only visits the home of children with pure hearts. Oh, Lord Santa Claus is so gracious. So like, you know, even if she was like, she looks a lot older now, the way she acts is still childlike. From episode 3, especially with how Rosa, when she did meet Beito, back then, like she may be a young adult, but she still has the mind of a child, or like one who still has not learned of the world. And in that way, that's like the innocence of like of a witch, you know? For a witch, at least those who could be chosen to be witches, I guess. Like Ava technically didn't become a witch. It's younger Ava who became a witch. Why are they so mean to her? Okay, what's your special secret, Lambda Delta? If only, if only. Yes. Yes, we knew that. Girl, like the fuck? Be Beto, be real. Yeah, okay, thank God. Thank God you're a good sport. Be honest with me right now. I'm still playing Higurashi. No! Okay, okay, I get it, I get it. Add some gochujang chili paste every so once in a while. I love... Oh my god, she just side-eyed and walked off. That's so funny. Oops. You gotta use that spoon from magic to gouge her eyes out. You can just do it so easily with a fork. Don't let Beatrice tell you otherwise that you need a spoon for drinking soup. I'm just gonna say that as a fact. Damn. Music is intensifying. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, wait. Stop being a party. I'm gonna go back to being a So, Lambda Delta is the one who made Beto a witch? Damn. You're disgusting, Beto. Witch of Certainty. So is it due to Lambda Delta we have like red text? Is Lambda Delta just Satoko from Higurashi? I would not be surprised if that's the case. I mean, I feel like it's kind of already, in my opinion, agreeable and implied that Birkenstell is Rika from Higurashi. It's just like after dealing with so many of the like timeline resetting, um they just ended up being a little tired and grumpy. Koopa! Oh yeah, that was that thing too. She was just like 12 years later. Oh, okay. Cool. What's happening 12 years later? On October 4th, 1998. Literally 12 years later. Like, someone's in the hospital. Okay, so this is Ava. There's only one episode of Sisonia up, and then he like stopped because it was written during the pandemic, and then Ryukishi was just like, I don't feel comfortable writing more of this, so I'm just gonna wait till like the world is like at a different time and place for me to continue, because I don't think people need to be reading this sort of story during this time. And then he got picked up by Silent Hill F, yeah. Anjay-san. I like how they just tell us the name, but I can't read that. Well, she's always been sensitive to smell. Damn. What? Metal Gear Solid moment. Let's start with those Soviet KGBs. Quick Battler CQC the witches. I'm honored. Damn, Ava, are you okay? Fucking insane. It's really fun being rich. Dude. Okay. This is 12 years later, yep. Oh, Angie now should be 16. And I think she was 4 back in like 1986. They weren't able to find out it was a crime? No, poor George. Yep, not surprised. The outsiders love drama without knowing whether I still believe she's the killer, but that's besides the point right now. Okay, he was 6, so she's now 18. What does that mean to Ava? Legitimately, it's at the end she's just like, yes, I killed them, and then shot Valor. That's oh my god, it's me. Hi Chaz, Alhamu, welcome. How you doing? Eating. Okay. Oh my god. Oh. You just figured that out now. Ooh, okay. Oh god, is she gonna off herself? Please no, you're too cute. Oh, uh, hey, Birkenstow? Your, your assistance is required. What? It's the final Beatrice of 1998. Final Beatrice? Does that... Does that mean Angie still dies? Angie Beatrice? Which miracles Birkenstow? Oh. My fan club. I'm pretty popular. See you again next time. Oh my god. She really pulled a Battler. Okay. Song is gonna make me demonetized, so I'm good. Oh well. It is what it is. I guess the song is pretty loud, yes. Yeah, the music was pretty loud, but it's fine. As I always say, I was like, I'm probably just gonna get demonetized just from that alone. All right, crazy theory time, my favorite, or I guess your guys' favorite too. I don't know. Okay. Can you not do that? Haha, stop. Here are my theories in red. I don't know if I can actually put them in red. I'll have my theories in plain text. Okay. So I wanted to go about the fact um that all all the murders that we've seen right now. Hi Slim, welcome. No, I actually cannot say that in red text. Battler is actually competent, and it's thanks to him and of episode 3 and Virgilia that like I'm able to make my theories as I can. So all three all three murders, like the 3 different episodes of murders that took place, there is a reality of each one. I'm gonna start with 3 just because it's the easiest one to work with, because it's the one where Battler did place the like Ava suspicion theory, which like made it's the thing that made my head turn. The second reason why I started thinking about all these things is because they started going on about how like how did Nanjo die if Ava was not the one who killed them? Um and then they didn't answer it. So that pissed me off a bit. So I was just like, no, you can't just like tell me that the way to complete this is just to deny witches. And well, like that's wrong. So I'm going to I'm gonna like explain everything the best way I can in a possible sense of trying to remember. I wish I wrote down the red text. This is the stuff that I do where like I'm just like I should have done these things, but like it's a little too little, too long, too late to like have done it. But okay. First things first, the fact that red text could not be written, that like certain people were killed, or like the doors were not tampered with. We'll start from episode 3, first Twilight. 6 people, or not 6 people, was it? Yeah, 6 people died. And it was a closed room case. But this could have been easily sorted out or like told by like having someone alive who like pretended they were dead, and then like like and then just like made it a closed room. This is also reliant on the fact that like the only person who got to see the quote unquote dead bodies was Nanjo. So I think Nanjo was lying in basically every episode about who was dead at the very beginning of like the first Twilight. It's like the only reason it could change some of the factors that happened. Probably not in episode 2, if I'm being for real right now. But we're still talking about episode 3. So um from there, if we know for like via red text, they did say certain people died, but like a big part of Umineko is that I'm literally making that post right now, Anya. I'm like literally making that post right now. Okay. I actually have something against that. We were actually told that the heads were crushed. Some of the characters in episode 1, we actually did not see it. So I'm not saying Battler is incompetent in giving us information, but because we're seeing it just from his POV, we're not actually being told or seen every single detail. So if we were to follow up from that, episode 1, The only people we saw who got their head crushed, based on Battler's POV, was Kraus, Kyrie, Rudolph. I don't remember. Who else was there? Rosa, and then they couldn't find the other bodies. Like they had to look deeper into the shed. Secondarily, when George was asking about Shannon, we actually weren't shown her head. I believe they said that her head was quote unquote crushed by sandbags or something. And that made it for sure. I don't know about Goda. Goda, I don't think they found him too, but that's besides the point. But some of their bellies were filled with cannons, pretty sure they were dead. So that's episode 2. Two different murders are happening. So we can't correlate that all the same murders are done by the same person for each episode. So explaining that oh yeah, their bellies got filled with candies, therefore they're dead, has nothing to do with episode 1 whatsoever. I am talking about episode 1 right now. So what I was saying and explaining is that there are certain characters in the shed that we did not see their head being crushed. Therefore, there could be a chance and theory that one of the servants or one of the people who Battler did not see with their head crushed was alive somewhere. Another part of that, this is actually kind of pushing making a stance. I know it is likely incorrect, but I'm using this as a stance because of a lot of the interactions that happen between all the episodes are quite similar. So I made this joke in episode 1 where it was just someone went by and dressed up as Beatrice and then gave Maria the envelope and made her feel comfortable. But I think that's a super important thing to recognize is that one, for sure, I don't believe Maria is the killer or ever helping the killer that she knows. She's just an innocent child and is the easiest person to be used and lured by the killer because of her belief in magic. So it's very easy for anyone who could be dressed up as Beato and be like, "Hey, I'm Beatrice," and then um go ahead and be starting the game basically. So I will say for a fact in red text, I will say in red text, the killers were not working alone. And it's not only just one person, it's probably multiple, but at least a plus one, a plus X, as Battler would put it. Yes, it was Genji in a dress. No, for sure. But secondarily, another thing is that across all 3 episodes, the first Twilight is always done differently to showcase a new killer every single time. However, the Twilights after that, so the 2nd to the 8th Twilight, it's all done by a same group or a same person. So I will state as fact, or well, it's not fact, I state in my theory, and it's not in red text. I highly believe Natsuhi is the first killer in episode 1. Rosa is in episode 2, and based from what we saw in episode 3, it's Ava. But again, they weren't working alone. But going back to episode 3, when there's the closed room case and how Battler and Virgilia explained it was that Ava was the one who killed them, is based upon the fact that there's probably some liars or people faking their deaths. And it's highly likely, especially in episode 1 and 3. I will move on to 2 later because I feel like 2 is a lot harder to explain with all the information I have at the moment. But in 1 and 3, it's very highly likely to be a servant, and then on top of that, I believe the servant is Shannon. Um, I feel like it's like, I wouldn't say it's obvious, but there are like a lot of points of Shannon's character or in the story that I feel like pinpoints her to be an accomplice to all of this. Um, Huge one, in my opinion, is trying to think like where to go from here. Huge one, in my opinion, is just like how the story truly starts off. Um, like the way this rolls, if we could follow up with episode 2, it's when Shannon breaks the mirror in the shrine. Like, it's such a important, impactful moment that like actually starts Beatrice's like quote unquote magic that happens. From there as well, Shannon also is very trusted by the family, even though she's a little like clumsy. She's also the only one who truly believes in Maria's belief in magic. So like when they're always hanging out, like all the cousins and Shannon are hanging out, George and Jessica treat her with like a lot of respect with the magic theories that she has. Like, oh, everything's like done with magic. But like every single time in the story, they always be like, oh, George and Jessica are just playing along. They always say that. But for Shannon, they never say that with her. And I think it's a huge point that they like Ryukishi makes, that like Shannon believes in Maria's like magic thoughts as well. So I think that's like very important because going back to my thoughts on how Maria is very important to make the story or like the murders begin, or it has to be someone who trusts her and believes in like what she's saying. Um the next part is, let's go back to like the names and stuff. So they did say like, when Ava Triss was talking about the different names of in red text of who died, part of me also thought about how like, excuse me, part of me also believed in the part of like names are very important in this game, to the point that like you gotta also think about like the title. So like they even said like you can believe that Beatrice was a name at first, but you realize it's a title. At that point, wouldn't you wouldn't you be able to assume that like Shannon and Canon are also titles in some way, shape, or form? And they actually have their own name. I don't think I know Canon's yet because they didn't give it to us, but we know Shannon's original name is Sayo, and it is said like constantly or consistently by George as well. So we know that she holds the name as Sayo and maybe even the title as like Shannon. It's like Shannon the maid, Sayo the person. Same with like Canon, where it's like Canon the servant, whatever his name is, as the person kind of thing. I think that's like very, very intricate. Okay. I'm gonna just go into episode 3 to like explain how the murders could have like happened in reality. So the reason why I'm putting it between like reality and magical, because Virgilia and Battler made a really good point in episode 3 where it's like when Battler went to check out the Rose Garden at the end, or like after the first or the second Twilight, the Rose Garden was like still like normal basically. And it was just like, oh wait, um, how is the Rose Garden not like in shambles after that big witch fight? And it's like, oh, like, and then Beidou explained it as like, oh, it was like inside a barrier, therefore like it wouldn't bother with reality. And then Battler's just like, well, I don't see like the magic, therefore it didn't happen. So like And then if you're just kind of wondering, like, how did like all these like explosions or like the sounds like came from? It's like they were in a storm, so like you could assume that all the noises that the people probably heard from outside was just from the storm. That already like just easily can clear that up as like the reality sense of that battle. I mean, there's probably more to it, but obviously I don't know every single detail, and I'm only coming from this after finishing episode 3. So I know a lot of these are probably wrong and likely, very likely incorrect. But I just feel like I need to at least put my thoughts forward. So what are furnitures? They're I mean, it's like a half and half, you know? So like Shannon is the furniture. Sayo is the person. Like Sayo is the human, you know. So like very easy example, like when they said Shannon is dead, it doesn't say that Sayo is dead, you know, or like Canon is dead, but it doesn't say Canon's real name is dead, you know. Beto and Virgil just LARPing in the rose garden. All right, so I'm gonna start from the very beginning of episode 3. I'm gonna actually move backwards a bit because, as you mentioned, episode 3 really helps understand the tricks of how like these murders could have happened. So, first things first, all the servants got quote unquote killed. I'm sure a good chunk of them were. Plus, Grandpapa. I don't know why. So I did want to say I don't know the whys of all these parts at all because I am nowhere there yet. And I am but I just kind of have an idea on the hows. So like all of these will like make sense in my brain until I go to the whys part of this. So anyways, okay. Episode 3, 6 people died. It's the 5 servants and Kinzo. One or two of them or even like a good chunk of them, plus X, you know, 1 plus X of servants are actually not dead. Um, we know for a fact that Kinzo is dead if we base it off of someone just being like, oh, he had 6 toes, you know, but we actually did not. Battler, since he's our POV character, Battler did not get to see the other bodies. Therefore, there's a chance that one or more of the servants were actually alive and made that closed room scene. Um, from there, Ava finds the gold. Rosa finds it after her. Something happens, they go back, and then like, you know, she has her headaches or whatever and stuff. Um, but again, that's probably is not what happened because Battler was not there. It's like physically not there. Second Twilight is I don't know how or why, but Ava kills Rosa, probably based on explaining how they said like, oh, she got pushed and hit her head on the fence and like it stabbed her head or whatever. And then Maria got killed along the way because she was a witness. Then from there, Kyrie, God forbid how smart she was, she could have just solved this instead of me. Um, can we only be sure about what happened if Battler personally saw it? As our POV character, I agree on that. That like if he actually saw the dead bodies, like then he can be the only person we can actually trust on this. Um, we actually, in my opinion, can't trust Nanjo's like um when he proclaims that bodies are dead because he can lie about that. And that's also another thing I am going to go into about is that Nanjo can't be trusted with information, but I don't know why. Like, I highly believe that he is one of the accomplices as well in the episodes, but I'm not sure about the why yet in all of this. And the reason why I say that, like, we can only be sure of what happened because of what we see is because a lot of the adults and a lot of the characters that were supposed to visually see these bodies or whatever are not given that chance. So, like, okay, going back to episode 1, when George and Battler were going to try to see Shannon's body, they were stopped by Natsuhi, and they're like, "Don't look any further. Like, it's it's like bad, you know," which is like super understandable for an adult to say that, but also like the only thing we saw from Battler and George's POV was that like they were just told that Shannon did still have the ring on her left ring finger, and so like that's like the only information that they wanted to know, but they were not able to like actually see the body. Again, this is like really important in my like Shannon accomplice theory because it's the same thing that also happens in episode 3. Jessica and George constantly ask, "Let us see the body of Shannon and Cannon." And they're not given that chance to. We only have to trust through Nanjo to be like, they're dead. So I am like highly suspicious of Nanjo. Again, I don't know why, but like why he's doing that, but I do believe that Nanjo is an accomplice. And he is the only doctor like that they can only trust in. So they can only trust him by word, but that does not mean that he is correct. Like most of the time. Of course I'm suspecting one of the 18. There there's only 18 people. If we don't believe in the witch, it has to be one of the 18 people. And yes, as I mentioned, episode 1, the killer was Natsuhi. Episode 2, it's Rosa. And episode 3, as they showed us, it's Ava. She is one of the 18. And as I mentioned previously when I was like watching through the episodes or reading through the episodes, Avatrice and Beatrice, or Avatrice and Ava are not like separated. It's just how we're being given the story has the magic on top of the story, but to understand the story or how the murders do happen is that you have to take away the layer of magic and recognize that there are ways that these murders do happen. Maybe having 6 toes is more common than you think. Does you having the Shannon accomplice theory mean she's accomplice in every timeline so far? A for for my fact, for my theory to work, I would say yes, but episode 2 also pinpoints the canon accomplice theory because of Jessica's murder. It's but like it's still with the help of Shannon in some way, shape, or form, is all I'm gonna be saying. Um, it still sticks with Shannon accomplice theory because Shannon, even if she wasn't dead in episode 2, she still could have been accomplice, is like the reality of it all. Okay, going back to episode 3. After the second Twilight, Rosa and Maria are dead. Kyrie suspects Ava and Hideyoshi and tries to uh go, and like the reason why she left the room or left the house is that like along with Rudolph is because she suspects Hideyoshi and wanted to solo him. That was technically already explained in the end of episode 3. Okay, sure, you can take the magic, it's fine. I'm not looking to be pure reality of the truth either. I'm just trying to explain these murders. If you guys are just going to be like, yeah, whatever, like this is just a story, like that's totally fine. I'd rather just have you guys not interact with me then. Like, I'm not saying that like the magic isn't real. It's just saying taking away the layer of the magic given in these stories is like kind of important to recognize that it's part of the story as well. And it's just to like understand that like if these murders could happen, it's just like part of that story. It doesn't mean that it's the full truth. Do you think it's a case of an unreliable narrator to complicate things? It is, honestly. I think it's part of sounds weird, but it was really a huge part of Ryukishi's storytelling that like you gotta have like he writes a with a narrator or a like a protagonist who is quite unreliable because that means that you can't truly trust every single thing that you see from one person's POV all the time. Yes, Ryukishi does love the unreliable narrator trope. Because how we're seeing it, Battler is always just like, witches aren't real, but yet we see the magical scenes that happen, right? So it's just kind of like, okay, how can you really trust in what Battler does see? If he's saying magic isn't real, witches aren't real, but then we also see like the witches like magical shit happen, you know? All right, continuing on. Um, Kiria and Rudolph end up dying along with Hideyoshi. I don't know how or why he does, but I think so this is the part that gets a little complicated. I think the way this ends up happening is because of how the second Twilight in episode 3 goes down. Um so remember once Ava and Rosa find the gold, they explain that you gotta like follow through with the rules, you know, you gotta tell everyone. However, Ava does not do that. And I think because of not following the rules that were made, that actually pulls someone else into like an accomplice to like actually like kind of backfire on Ava. Um so going back to the whole rules stuff, there murders, all the murders follow a set of rules in some way, shape, or form. So I will say that the first Twilight and all three different episodes are done by new killers every time because they're not all the same every time. However, the second and eighth Twilight are all done similarly and follows the epitaph. And in my opinion, because of this, it is done by the same person. Again, going back to the Shannon accomplice theory, is someone who follows, it's a servant of furniture in that way, in that sense, follows the rules of something. And on top of that, if the rules aren't being followed, they're gonna be doing it. They're gonna be doing, they're still gonna do the epitaph like murders as set whether or not it's done, like whether or not what the original founder of the gold or who is like the next head wants it to be. Um, are there different episodes? Why are there different episodes to begin with? Is it an alternate reality? It is. Again, one of those Ryukishi moments where they just like writing these parts to expand on more exposition and story so that you get to unravel like the characters and the settings and the situation like more and more with these different like styles of um his storytelling. Okay. So from there, um I don't know who kills Hideyoshi, but I'm sure it's the same person who kills Kiryu and Rudolph, which is the accomplice. And the reason why they end up killing Hideyoshi is because of a rule being broken between Ava and Rosa. I think like that's like really important in that reason, because Ava and Avatrice has mentioned Ava and Avatrice have mentioned together that like, hey, look, I can kill everyone else, but I'll let your family live. But why then all of a sudden, after like immediately after that conversation, Avatrice in the magic scenes, Avatrice kills Hideyoshi, you know, like, oh, you're annoying because like you're in the way. But like, doesn't that go against like Ava, who would be the original killer of episode 3, to like do that, right? It's funny because I think coming to Umineko after Higurashi, just accept different episodes to be par for the course and just not question it, right? Yeah. So something A Beatrice, the title of Beatrice, someone goes and kills Kiryu, Rudolph, and Hideyoshi. Then from there, we're supposed to believe that George just runs off to find his dad because he got lured out by Beatrice, right? Like during that scene, like ghostly scene. And this is the other part that's kind of suspicious for me. During that scene was when the window was open. They were like, oh, there's like no sound. And this is what Battler is saying. And you know who was with Battler when that happened? It was fucking Nanjo. So I'm just like, Nanjo, you are so fucking suspicious right now. Like, he's just like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Man, shut the fuck up. I know you're part of this. so, so So I think, again, for episode 3, there are 2 accomplices for sure. It's Shannon and Nanjo. I think the reason why George was able to leave without being found was because he was lured out by Shannon, someone that he trusted and, like, believed to, like, help him out. I could, like, even follow up with like, oh, what was the whole scene with her reviving or whatever? It's like, oh, she was just fucking sleeping, man. You're like, that's literally just what happened, you know? Or like, if you're gonna be like, oh, like, then why did like George die or whatever? Like, I don't fucking know the reason why, okay? But it was Shannon who killed him. It's like, and then like on top of this, the other part that can be easily like handled is knowing like when Jessica was blind and then Canon helped her out. We were supposed to believe it was like, oh, a super special spirit of Canon was like running around helping Jessica to like disappear and stuff. Okay. But how do we actually know that? How do we actually know that Canon was just a spirit? We actually don't know. Because what if we had to trust Jessica's thought? She's fucking blind! And then she was also told not to touch him, not to be near him, you just have to listen to my voice. Bro, bam, easily could be like explained. He was alive, he just was told to not be able to like interact with her, and he also told Jessica to not interact with him in that way. So in a sense, Canon also lured Jessica like because of her trust in him too. What happened after that? I don't know. So basically that's like kind of my explanation of how all those things could have happened. Natsuki and Cross easily explained by Battler could have just been killed by Ava, and then like the body were dragged out. Their bodies were just dragged out to be like out there basically. And then again, Nandro was the one who took Jessica to he separated, excuse me. Nandro separated Battler, Ava, and Jessica from each other and worked along with Ava to try to kill Jessica as well. Um, Again, Ava has an alibi because of Battler hanging out with her the whole time, but no one was technically hanging out with Nandro since he was outside the door. So if we think about who else is still alive, it'd be, based on my crack-ass theories, it's Ava, Battler, Jessica, Nandro, Shannon, and then Cannon. Cannon was with Jessica. Ava was with Battler. Therefore, it's Shannon who ended up killing Nandro, which I don't know the fucking reason why still, but that is what happened, okay? It's like, that's all I'm saying, like, for real, for reals right now, okay? It's like, it's for real, I swear. Okay, instead of using the name Shannon, let's just use the name Sayo, because they said Shannon is dead, and I feel like someone's gonna be like, but they said, like, Shannon is dead in red text. Man, shut the fuck up. You know who I'm talking about. Anyways, so, so that is how, no, Nanjo is not the killer. Nanjo is an accomplice. Two different things. Do not twist my words. Two different things. I think Ava is the person, like, doing all the things in episode 3, but she has people helping her, which is Nanjo, Shannon, and Cannon. Okay, moving on to episode 1. Again, if you kind of end up with who's the last person alive who's going through, like, a power trip, episode 1, I believe the person who basically killed everyone is Natsuhi. I know she dies at the end for some reason. Again, I don't fucking know why, okay? I'm not at the why part of these murders, which is why I'm still like, but why? Like, why is Nanjo, like, helping out or participating in these somehow? I would not know. Okay, so excuse me. Natsuhi was the first one, along with everyone else, to find the body. And we're supposed to assume, like, from, again, unreliable storyteller situation, storyteller situation where it's like, we saw her go back to her room and, like, fall asleep and stuff like that. And then she met Jessica, and then she had the scorpion keychain, which I would believe is all true. The thing that's weird is that there was, like, that weird scratchy blood stuff in front, like, in her door, which I could theorize easily as her just sleepwalking and going insano mode. But, like, she's the one who did the first 6 murders at the very beginning of episode 1. Once again, my Shannon accomplice theory, because we didn't see Shannon's head actually crushed, and it makes a whole lot of sense for her to beat the shit out of Cross, and I'm so proud of her for doing that, but that's besides the point. This is Natsuhi as a person who has been beat down many times. Similarly to Ava, I could kind of see why she'd go a little, like, gung-ho and crazy. And also being told that she has the one-winged eagle in her heart. I feel like that gave her, like, a lot of, like, power, like, internally to, like, go against the family in some ways. Again, I don't know when or why the, like, whole situation happens. However, using that theory with Natsuhi is the killer and Shannon is the accomplice, we can easily expand on how each of the murders happened. Like, once again, the second Twilight to the 8th Twilight are all done by the same person, similarly, which is Shannon, who is following a set of rules that is given to her, whether it's by the head or by Kinzo, who wrote the epitaph. So, like, again, closed door situation. How do we know anyone was under the bed when these murders were happening? We just know that Ava got stabbed and so did Hideyoshi in the bathroom. Things like that. Probably closed the door afterwards. Okay, so I am actually just trying to remember, like, the stuff that happened in episode 1, because it has been a while for me. But, I mean, you could easily just put in, like, the points of, like, oh yeah, like, Kenon died because Kumasawa went down to the basement with him. Like, that's so, like, easily, like, something that could just happen. I'm not saying these are the correct facts, but I'm trying to explain that these things, these theories that, like, Battler has put out there can be real. And in episode 1, there was no red text whatsoever. So I can't really pinpoint what actually did happen in episode 1 and episode 2. Way less in episode 2, but at least in episode 3, I feel like it's a lot clearer to understand what possibly went down. Okay. Sorry, I wish I had more in episode 1. I will say that the part where she ends up quote unquote killing herself is possibly seeing someone else there that shouldn't have been there. So, like, what if? Because if Natsuhi was. Sorry, I'm like kind of jumping off places now, but like remembering the part where Natsuhi was walking, like they were all in Kinzo's room, and then when she walks off, like suddenly she turns around, there's like the envelope of the golden envelope. She could have easily just placed that down, or even Jessica could have easily placed that down. Um, However, like we don't know what's truly fact or fiction in that sense, but again, it's just theorizing stuff. And of course she's just gonna protect Jessica in all of this because that's her daughter, and make Battler, George, Maria, and some of the servants disappear. Um, Again, helps with this, again, with the Shannon accomplice theory, helps with this because why was Maria dancing by herself when everyone around her was getting killed? Like, there's probably, again, someone who she trusts, who she was like, oh my god, it's Beatrice. And then someone told her to just turn around and, like, just, like, do a little, like, jiggle. So, so this goes back to that Shannon is the one who did the murders of the second to 8th Twilight in episode 1 as well. Again, don't know why, but Maria is used as like it's kind of hard to explain. Like Maria is like good for these situations, but it also places a mark against the person who's using against her, because it's like who else would do these sorts of things while using Maria, like for these situations. You'll never trust servants and doctors ever again. I'm so sorry. That's not that's not what I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, for this story, I think Nanjo is lying. And Shannon for sure is alive and the accomplice and the second person to murder other people in the first 3 episodes. Um okay. Going on to episode 2, I think for sure we could say Rosa is the main like murderer in that. However, it might be a little weird because we're like, wait a minute. Shannon didn't die. How do we like continue on with the Shannon as the accomplice theory with that if she's not the first one dead? The point is that Shannon is alive and well and is an accomplice. Like it doesn't matter if she like faked being dead or not. A very important part of that again with episode 2 is making it feel like again using Maria as a marker is because Maria is the one being uh like these things are almost designed around Maria being innocent and believing in magic. It's also the reason why they get the murderers kind of show themselves as a murderer. So again, very easily with episode 2, all 6 people had a very wonderful um had a very wonderful Halloween party. So why a Halloween party, you know? Like why a Halloween party? Where did this episode start with? It was a start with Rosa and Maria going on about how like it's near Halloween, so they gotta have like their little Halloween hangout or whatever. If Maria was there to see this, I feel like she would not even understand what's going on. I was like, oh my god, it's Halloween, haha. It's very clear that like in a twisted fashion, Rosa is doing this for her daughter. It's very twisted, but like it's like a very much like I'm going to try to get the gold or find the gold because this is for my family, which is kind of ironic because at the end she can't even hold Maria's hand. Besides the point right now. Following that, you can go to the part where it's like, how did Jessica get murdered, but Canon's body was not found, right? Very easily, you could have a closed room situation where Jessica got killed by Canon, and Canon closed the door and disappeared off the face of the earth for a good moment. That was probably with the help of, I don't know, Shannon as well. Could have been. Or they were working separately because now Canon has to work in quietly, whereas Shannon had to work with what was in front of her, not as a dead person. We also have made note that Canon walks very, very quietly. This is also like keeps up with my canon accomplice theory within episode 3 and 2 due to the fact that he was not heard with Jessica when like his footsteps were not heard whatsoever. With Jessica, it was also that part where like when Shannon, Canon, and Genji were told to go to Kinzo's room, and then they were like, don't boobily too hard, Shannon, as he just like tiptoes in the rain, you know? So and then for episode 3 he was around, but like it's kind of suspicious with how major Canon was a bit more versus Shannon. And in my opinion, it's because Shannon was not dead yet. That they had to make Canon be able to do some like more of the murders. And it's due to that, again, going back to furnitures or servants that have to follow an epitaph, like the rules that were set in place, he does continue the same murder styles as how Shannon would have done it. Episode 2 is a little hard for me to remember who and what like got killed. Like I know Kumasawa and Nanjo got murdered, but then they disappeared, you know? This again goes back to Nanjo being slightly suspicious because he is the one who said that these people died. But then now he like disappeared and then he was found dead later, which I am going to assume that Canon killed him. As for Rosa beating the shit out of everyone in episode 2 with the goats and stuff, I don't know what's going on. I'll be for real, like super for real. I think also the reason why more gold was found in episode 2 during the first Twilight is because Rosa did find the gold first, used it against her brothers and sisters, and then like when she tried to like run away from everything, something happened. I don't know what. Kinza was still alive back then, so I don't know. I would say episode 2 is a lot harder to think about or understand because there's just so much fucking shit going on. Anyway, so those are my crazy crack theories. Whether you guys agree to it or not, I would not know. I personally am just kind of like, I think I was kind of cooking, but if you guys are just like, man, she is not cooking, it's totally fine as well. That's that's like all that I got at the moment. I do I still believe Kinzo's Chinese? I don't know, maybe. But yeah, that's what I got for now. So like I'm not saying you're more confused than anything. Anya, did you actually read Umineko or are you just confused of what I'm saying? Or are you just reading along with me? Yeah, we'll find out by reading more. Definitely gonna be doing that possibly tomorrow. I might have so when I was making my schedule, I literally was just gonna be like, what if I just put Umineko for like every stream? Just some of my theories don't click with me. That's okay. I'm just like it's probably a little hard to for me to like explain better, but so what you should just come out of this is just maybe three things. One, there's a new killer in every episode. So Natsuhi in 1, Rosa in 2, Ava in 3. Second is that there's always a 1 plus X accomplice for each of the main murderers. And then follow up to that, it's the Shannon, it's like I believe it's Shannon. And then the plus X is like Nanjo and Canon in some way, shape, or form. I don't know where Genji is in all this, honestly. Like, he kind of cooks, so like I don't know if like he would do anything, but he is the guy who is just like, you gotta follow what the head of the no, the head of the like of the Ushiromiya family is at this point. All right, and that is it. That's all my crazy theories. Sorry it was boring to you guys. But I'm really enjoying this game, so I'm pretty excited to continue. I'll probably stream it tomorrow, we'll see. I did have the time set up, so I'll just like have you guys be like around that time is when I'll be streaming it. Yeah, go sleep then. If you guys are tired, go sleep. There will be no streams later today. Nope, nope. Alright, Otsu, thank you for listening and watching the tea party with me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.